Her early career started in radio, and her television credits include television's most successful show, American Idol, and So You Think You Can Dance. She has also worked on Def Comedy Jam with Dave Chappelle. Holden is currently producing original television programming and is committed to bring diversity to Canadian television. Please give a strong round of applause and a welcome to Holden Olivia. Make a tough one tonight.
What a small world. Noelle and I went to Windsor together. Now we meet 10 years later. Good evening, everyone. How are you guys tonight? Powerful. Powerful. I love that word. Okay. Thank you for joining us for the Black Canadian Mayoral Forum brought to you by the Diversity Advancement Network. I will briefly introduce all the candidates. I will kindly ask you to hold all your applause until we get all of them completed. And once we complete the introductions, I will give the candidates 2 minutes to share their positions, and then we will start the debate. First time I'm taller than a mic. Okay. Our first candidate. Born in Tobago, Robert Bruce Rob Ford is the 64th and current mayor of one of the most diverse cities in the world, Toronto. Before being elected as mayor in October 2010, Mr. Ford served the city of Toronto for 10 years as a councillor for Ward 2. Welcome, Mr. Ford. Okay, immigrating to Canada from Hong Kong when she was only 13 years old, Mayoral candidate Olivia Chow is the former Canadian NDP Member of Parliament. She was first elected to the school board in the 1980s and became a city councillor for Toronto in 1991 for 14 years. Please welcome Olivia Chow. I guess we're not following the rules. I love this. Okay. Born in Scarborough and founder of the Dense Grove Park Community Association, Mayoral candidate David Sakanaki was elected as councillor in Scarborough in 1994 for 3 years. He then served as Toronto City Councillor for 1999 for 7 years, representing Ward 43. Welcome, David. Born in Toronto and volunteer chair for the Greater Toronto Civic Action Alliance, Mayoral candidate Tory is a former leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario. He was elected as member of the Provincial Parliament in 2005 for 2 years, representing Dufferin, Peel, Wellington District. Welcome. You know you can make a change when you break all the rules, right? Okay. Born in Toronto and the CEO of a music and fashion magazine, The Concrete Chronicles, Mayoral candidate DeWitt Lee is the proud Christian who also runs a small marketing firm called Lee. Welcome, DeWitt Lee. Thank you to all our candidates for being here and for engaging with our audience.
I think you forgot one.
Okay, the rule breaker.
See, we're still forgotten.
Thank you, Dion, for pointing that out to us. Welcome. Dion Ray says she's the voice of the underrepresented. She's a Canadian candidate interested in positioning youth for success. Welcome. I will kindly now ask all the candidates in the order, starting with Mr. Rob Ford, to give us 2 minutes of their position, and then we'll move to the debate. Mr. Ford?
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this election is very straightforward. On October 27th, you're going to have a choice to make. You're going to have a choice to make of someone who has experience and a proven track record down at City Hall. Someone that said they were going to do it and did exactly what he said he was going to do. Folks, you know I said I was going to get a union deal. I got a union deal. You know I said I was going to get rid of that $60 car tax. I got rid of the $60 car tax. I inherited $775 million that we had to find efficiencies for. I did that. I kept property taxes at 1.5% lower than any city of our size in North America. I said I was going to contract out garbage, and we weren't going to have any more garbage strikes, and we weren't going to have any more transit strikes. We weren't going to have any more strikes, period. And I did exactly that.
Library strike.
So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it is straightforward. If you want someone with a proven track record that has saved over $1 billion, I'm the person that you want. If you want someone else that you know your taxes are going to go up, that are going to implement gas tax, every tax you can think of, but they call it revenue tools. You want an LRT on Shepherd, you want an LRT on Finch, I can guarantee the other three people will do that, meaning Chow, and Tory. You want subways? You want subways? I have a proven track record in building subways. So, folks, I welcome the other two candidates here. We have yet to debate, and I look forward to them participating in the debate. And I wasn't aware of their position, but thank you very much. All the best.
I'm short, so I'm going to stand up. Hey folks, it's time for a change in direction. It's time for the city to have a mayor that understands what life is like. What it's like to have a hard time finding a job. What's it like to taking care of the kids and taking care of the parents at the same time. It's tough. That shapes my value. That's why I got into politics, so that we can create a city, a service that care for each other. That's what government is about. That is what we need. That's why we need to invest now. We need to invest in public transit so that the bus will come more often. And it wouldn't be all full and you can't get on. And then you're packed like sardines. And we also do need to put shovel in the ground on that Finch LRT lines so that you can save at least half an hour each day in transit. Let us invest now on public transit. And we need to invest in our children, after school programs, because it's so important. It's about our children. After school programs so they can grow up smart, strong, and stay out of trouble. And that's what we can do, and hire some young people so that they can be role models for our children. That is a good thing to do, and for that to happen, we need to invest now. We need to invest in public housing. We need to build more affordable housing, 15,000 units of affordable housing, because far too many people are waiting for affordable housing. And jobs especially for young people, so it gives them hope. Because right now there's a crisis. 1 out of 5 young people cannot find a job. Let us go and create some jobs for our young people so they can hope. They can have hope so they can start their families. We can do all this together. I have the experience. I've been a city councillor, been a member of parliament. When I was a city councillor, we started and expanded the children nutrition program so that the kids wouldn't have to be hungry when you're in school, because you can't learn when you're hungry. And also, dental care, free dental care for kids that parents' income is less than $30,000. I started that, expanded that. Let us do more. There's so much more we can do together. Let us work together. Let us invest so that we can create a caring government, so that we can have a better future for all our children. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Socknacki. I want to be mayor to make the changes that we need to make this a great city, not to make excuses. I want to take my experience as a grandson of immigrants who came to this country without anything, as someone who has built a company and created jobs from nothing, and as somebody who has worked on council. I want to tell you in just a moment about my experience on council, because my time in council was in Scarborough, an area covered by Kingston Road and Orton Park and Galloway Road. And I want to tell you that that shows some of the greatest challenges we have in the city, and yet it shows some of the greatest ability to overcome those challenges. It's the area of Danzig, and yet it's the area of the Scarborough East Boys and Girls Club. It's the area where there is some abject poverty and some real challenges, and yet with our city government, with investment, with treating people with decency and fairness and giving them not that hand out but the hand up, that we can achieve so much together and to make us all proud of what we can be. I want to tell you a little bit about my program and some of the principles. Yes, I want to talk about transit. I want to talk about light rail transit. And the reason I want to say that is because not only is it $1 billion tax savings that we don't need to spend, but it goes to the communities that need that transit. It goes to Malvern. It'll go to the communities that so desperately need it, not only for jobs, but to go to churches, to go to their communities, and to go to school. I want to talk to you about some of the programs that we need to rein in order to make this a great city. And we don't want to deal with the small cities. We don't want to make the most vulnerable pay for it. We instead need to deal on those large budgets. We need to review the Toronto Police Services budget. We need to make fundamental changes that haven't been made in a generation, to policing. It's not only for savings, but it's also to make it more sensitive. It also needs to be more effective, and it needs to better reflect the hopes and aspirations of our public. I look forward to the rest of the debate, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for having us all here tonight, and I want to say thank you for all of you turning out. I think it's a great demonstration of interest in the issues in the election. And, you know, I want to talk about transit tonight, and we will. I think it's time for us to do something bold. We should have been building one subway station a year for the last 25 years, and we haven't. And I think now it's time to do something bold to make sure we can make a big difference as quickly as we possibly can. I want to talk about jobs, because it's about attracting new jobs, and in fact attracting jobs that will make for careers for people, not short-term jobs for people. We need to have careers. I want to talk about taxes, because yes, indeed, we do have to make sure we keep the tax burden down on people. And I want to talk with you about making sure that the new leader of the city can work with the city council, which, as you know, is essential to our well-being and to getting things done, and working with the other governments the same way. And I think people are going to have to ask themselves a fundamental question. Do they want 4 more years of the same kind of division they've seen, the same kind of chaos at the City Hall, the same kind of inability to work with the City Council and increasingly with the other governments? Or do they want to see change where it can be about getting things done? And I want to mention something else that hasn't really been mentioned directly tonight, but I think it should be. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the violence we've seen, the tragic violence that affects young black men disproportionately to other parts of the population, and other related issues, including the high school dropout rate among the very same group that I just mentioned, I think it's reached a crisis point. And I don't use that term loosely. We end up hardly discussing this in our city, and I think it's time we started seeing it for what it is, which is a crisis. And we need leadership from the mayor. I think it's been sorely lacking as people instead seem to race to claim credit for solving problems which in fact grow worse over time. I have a track record as a private citizen. I have a track record as a private citizen of acting on these issues, stepping up and acting, and I think now it's time to step up the pace. The programs that are going to help in this regard are not a waste of money. They are the best investment we ever make. And so I do believe we need a mayor who can work with the City Council, who can work with all levels of government, both Premier Wynne and Prime Minister Harper, to address all of these issues in a serious and substantive and timely way, and in a partnership with every single segment of our population. And that's exactly what I'll do. Thank you.
I just like to hear it sounding good.
Okay, our next candidate, DeWitt Lee.
Thank you so much. You know, Mr. Tory, you actually generated an applause for me. Those are all very touching issues that I deal with on the front line every day when I'm out doing my everyday normal guy things. Reaching out to the youth, standing on behalf of them in circles and forums like this, and hearing their cries. And these are the things that have angered me, that have stirred me up, to have launched me into this space so I can share a message to all my people. And that is to rise up and build. That is to rise up and build first ourselves, then our families. Once our families are secure and our pillars in their community, then we can turn around and have a direct impact to our communities. Today we are going to address some issues, but they're not going to cover it all. My role as a mayoral candidate is to ensure that after the election is over, and after the flyers disappear, and after the passionate speeches that inspire you, I noticed a lot of Jada Finch in here, huh? A lot of applause when we talked about that Finch line. When all of the smoke clears, my job, with your help, with your vote, is to ensure that promises are kept, to ensure that transparency is key, and that services reach every citizen. And we are building an organization, the most powerful citizen-based organization Toronto or Canada has ever seen. It's called the Toronto Community Advisory Board. And we are assigning and organizing young people to elders who are going to facilitate different roles to their strengths and make sure that whoever is elected councillor is going to have to work for every cent of their pay. Whoever is voted mayor is going to have to earn every cent of their pay, because we are going to ensure that the citizens get the representation that they ultimately deserve. Now, I would be remiss to be here in this moment not to give thanks to the organizers for putting together this powerful collection of thinkers, doers, dreamers, and move makers, and dancers, and youth. It is inspiring, and I am so grateful to sit here in front of you and to represent you, to do so with integrity and honor, to stand for the underserved and the least provided for. But I must say that we do have a little healing that we have to do with our current mayor.
And now our time is up.
And I do appreciate that. And I do hope we do get an opportunity to hear from him an apology for his use of the N-word, so that we can in fact move on and heal from here. Thank you.
Thank you, DeWitt Lee. And now Dion Renee.
So I am tall and I will stand.
Yes, girl.
And I will stand for each of you in this room and each citizen of the City of Toronto. My name is Dion Renee, and that's spelled for clarity, D!O!N!E, all uppercase letters for the first name. Renee, R-E-N-E, with an accent aigu, E. Dion Renee. Sometimes we're forgotten at the debate table. So I share the sentiments that DeWitt has expressed. I thank the organizers for allowing us to be sitting at the table, us to be included in the discussion, us to have a voice. When I'm speaking to the 98%, and I hope you're listening to me when I'm speaking, because it's the 2% that control the media, it's the 2% who's telling you who's leading in the poll, it's the 2% who say who's in the poll, but yet don't include me in the poll. So how can the polls really be fair? How can democracy democratic when we don't have a voice. So consider when you're voting that same rule, that you have an opportunity to make a change. I believe we can do this, and I'm hoping that you remember, vote Dion Renee on election day. A vote for me becomes a voice for you. And to be clear, I am in this race to be considered to be the chief public servant. I'm here to serve you. And the chief public servant is also known as mayor. Thank you, and I look forward to what's going on today.
Thank you, and now we'll kindly move on to the actual debate questions. Our first topics will center around housing and other social services. The University of Toronto Institute on Municipal Finance and Governance reported this month that Toronto community housing alone has $860 million in unfunded repair bill for social housing. They also reported that from 2000 to 2012, social and family services, including social assistance, childcare, and seniors programs, have declined as a share in spending, falling from 27% to 20%. Expenditures on all other services did not change. Will you allow to continue the decline in social and family service spending, keep it steady, or increase the spending in these areas? Whatever your decision, how do you envision it impacting the Black community?
Is there time for minutes?
Like 30 seconds, a minute.
30 seconds?
Yeah, a minute.
Yeah, we won't have to start. It's, I just,
1 minute for each question, and then you guys rebuttal.
Oh, okay, I thought you said 3. Okay.
All right, so we have 1 minute, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
1 minute answer.
Yes, and then you speak, others can rebuttal. Okay, I think
Okay, so-
we'll go for 3 minutes each person, and the next one can go.
What is it, Madam Chair?
Sorry about that. Each question is going to need 3 minutes, and after that, the next person will go. So we're going to go in alternate methods. So we're going to go from Mr. Rockford to Dion, and afterwards, the next question will start from Dion and back to Mr. Ford.
So it's 3 minutes per answer.
For the answer of each question.
I see.
Per candidate, yes.
Per candidate.
and then there's a rebuttal between us? There's a debate between us?
No, there won't be a debate. Each question will be answered, and then we can have 30 seconds again, and then we'll move to the next question.
30 seconds for what? I just want to make sure we're...
In the first part of debating, yes, it is a debate.
Madam Chair, it's also just 3 minutes, and then that's it. 3, 3, 3. What was given to us was 3 minutes.
3 minutes each, and that's it. 3 minutes each, and then we go, that's it.
And then we go to the next question.
There's no debate, and we go to the next question. Yes, thank you.
Would you like me to, I'm sorry, would you like me to repeat the question, or you guys understood the question?
I'm good. It's going to be hard to cover.
That's okay.
If Madam Chair, if I may ask, did you give us some kind of indication that the 3 minutes is approaching? Yeah,
30 seconds left.
Yeah, just a 30-second left.
30
If you
seconds.
can maybe tap on the mic or something, just to let us know that
Yeah,
wrap up.
my direction.
Sorry, there will be a bell ring. I'm so sorry for that. There will be a bell ring just to indicate it's 30 seconds left.
Thank you. Wrap up.
I apologize for this communication. Let's get started. I'll repeat the last tail end of the question so that the candidates feel a little bit more comfortable in repeating that. Okay. Thank you. So the tail end of the question was, expenditures smaller services did not change. Will you allow the continued decline in social and family service spending, keep it steady, or increase spending in these areas? And whatever you envision, how would it impact the Black community?
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I got the first and the last, and it was pretty long, but I'll try to condense this as much as possible. In Toronto community housing, folks, nobody, but nobody, has done more for Toronto community housing than Rob Ford.
Let the candidates answer.
I don't mind. It just reminds me of City Hall, to tell you the truth. So I'm used to it. It's all right. Folks, I inherited a mess at Toronto Community Housing. I cleaned out the board with all their lavish parties, put in a responsible board, brought in Eugene Jones, who is the best, and I will bring him back when I get re-elected. He cleaned up a mess, and what I said from day one, I said, we're not going to build any more government housing until we fix our existing stock. And that's what I am doing. And that's why you see my voting record when they say, let's build more subsidized housing, affordable housing, government housing, whatever terminology you want to use, here, there, and everywhere. I said, hold on. We can't even take care of this stock that we have. We're $876 million in repairs. I've seen the repairs firsthand. I have knocked on their door and walked in and saw some of the conditions that were absolutely deplorable. And I do not care what your income is. Nobody, but nobody deserves to live like that. And I went out there and I fixed these problems and I'll continue to fix them, but I am not going to sit here and build more affordable housing until we fix our existing stock. And that is the bottom line on how I stand on housing. With the spending on social programs, I would love to sit here and tell you, yes, I'm going to increase the spending on social housing. But everything comes down to a budget, folks. You know that. We could sit here and have 15% property taxes. We could implement a retail tax, a gas tax. We could bring back the $60 car tax. But when do we say enough is enough? The previous administration went that direction, and I inherited. First thing Joe Penichetti said is, we are $776 million in the hole, Rob. We have to increase taxes. Remember that, 24%. Remember that at the beginning of the term? I said, no, we're not going to increase it. We have to find efficiencies, but we have to help the poor people out when we're finding the efficiencies. And I did exactly that. The best social program is a job. We've created 59,000 jobs. We kept property taxes low, and we have more cranes in the sky today than we've ever had. And every crane you see is equivalent to 1,000 jobs. Folks, they're the facts. And we're going to keep moving the city in a positive